Welcome to this explainer. Today we are going to dive deep into the hardcore science to completely decode your cat's stare. Because, let's be real, understanding their vibe is majorly important. If you live with a cat, you already know that heavy, inescapable feeling of being watched from across the room. But what is actually going on in there? We're going to look at the exact neurological and biological triggers firing behind those intense feline eyes.
So, the big question, why is your cat staring at you? Are they hardcore judging your life choices? Are they plotting a hostile takeover of your apartment? Or are they just desperately waiting for you to drop some food on the floor? It's literally a question every single cat parent has asked at some point. And the real answer is actually a wild mix of things. It digs deep into ancient predator biology, profound trust signals that scientists have only very recently decoded, and a psychological attachment style that your cat actually shares with human babies. It is so fascinating.
Look, we have all experienced that low-key, creepy feeling of being watched while we sleep, eat, or just chill on the couch. It's a totally universal part of living with a cat. You wake up at 3 a.m. and bam, there they are, just sitting on your chest, unblinking in the dark. Or you're just trying to eat your dinner and you can feel their eyes burning a hole right into the side of your head. Sometimes they even just stare at a totally blank wall for 10 minutes straight. Well, I promise you, it's not random. There is a method to the madness.
To figure out what's going on, we first have to separate the ancient predator software from the modern house cat reality. Let's get into Section 1, Decoding the Feline Gaze, the threat versus the vibe. Okay, so first off, a cat's eyes are built totally differently from ours. They are heavily stacked with these things called rod cells, which are specifically for detecting motion. This means they process fast, microscopic movements way better than we ever could. So when you see a hunter stare, you are literally watching their predatory hardware booting up. They are tracking something tiny, their pupils get super dilated, their body gets stiff and low to the ground, and their ears point straight forward. It's intense. But then you have the chill stare. This means they are just vibing with you. Their eyes are soft, they're blinking normally, and their whole posture is loose and relaxed. Basically, if you get the chill stare, congratulations, you are not prey today.
But sometimes, let's be honest, that stare is purely transactional. Cats are incredibly sharp learners, and this brings us to operant learning. This is a core concept in behavioral psychology originally pioneered by B.F. Skinner. It basically means an animal modifies its behavior based on the consequences of past actions. So what does this mean for you? Well, if hitting you with a laser-focused stare got them a treat, a nice chin scratch, or their food bowl filled yesterday, they are absolutely going to use that operant conditioning to flex on you again today. In their minds, they are running a vending machine transaction. And spoiler alert, you are the machine.
So, keeping that in mind, when they stare at you in bed while you're trying to sleep, they might just be hungry and trying to mentally force you to wake up and serve them breakfast. But there's more to it. They might also be feeling anxious about some change in their routine, and they're looking to you for reassurance. Or, and this is honestly so sweet, they might actually be guarding you while you're vulnerable. Think about it. In the wild, sleep is a super dangerous time. By watching over you, they are fulfilling this deep, natural instinct to protect their family.
Let's move on to the science of feline affection. Section 2, the slow blink flex, the ultimate sign of trust.
We have to talk about the slow blink sequence. This is a series of slow, deliberate half blinks followed by a prolonged eye closure. A massive 2020 Sussex University study actually tested this. They had humans initiate the slow blink first, and they recorded the cats responding right back in kind. The researchers basically proved that this specific sequence is an act of deliberate vulnerability. Out in the animal kingdom, willingly closing your eyes in front of someone means you absolutely do not view them as a threat. It is essentially the ultimate feline kiss. And what is truly fascinating here is the actual biological chain reaction happening inside your cat's brain during this. Studies published in the journal Behavioral Processes show that positive eye contact with you, like sharing one of these slow blinks, gives your cat a 12% spike in oxytocin. That is the famous cuddle hormone. To put that into perspective, you are literally hacking their brain chemistry and physically making them feel love just by looking at them the right way. How cool is that?
And honestly, it goes even deeper than that. A 2019 Oregon State University study put cats through a classic psychological test called the strange situation, where an owner leaves a room and then comes back. The results were wild. It showed that cats actually display secure attachment, meaning they immediately seek out their owner to calm down when stressed. You guys, they share this exact same attachment style with human toddlers. So that soft stare from across the room, that's literally just them using you as a safe home base to ground their anxiety before they go back out to explore the living room.
But hey, it's not all cuddles and oxytocin spikes. Missed stare signals can lead to real physical aggression. Let's get into Section 3, Stranger Danger and Turf, when guests get the death glare.
We all know cats are fiercely territorial creatures. As the experts at VCA animal hospitals point out, if a cat is staring directly at someone with their ears pinned forward and their tail flicking rapidly, they're practically shouting, "Stop, I need a moment." The crucial point here is that if a guest totally ignores this hard boundary and goes in for a pet anyway, the cat will absolutely strike to protect their turf. It isn't random out-of-nowhere aggression, the human just completely blew past the warning stare.
So, if your cat gets totally stressed out by strangers and starts throwing death glares, here's the exact vet-approved game plan for a safe introduction so you don't trigger an attack. Step 1. Use a physical barrier, like a baby gate, to keep everyone safe. Step 2. Have the guest gently toss treats to start building a positive association. And Step 3, this is absolutely clutch, do not skip this, tell your guests absolutely no direct eye contact. Staring at a stressed cat is universally seen as a direct threat. Just don't do it.
And by the way, this whole staring dynamic totally applies to other cats too. In a multi-cat household, a hardcore, unblinking stare is a classic way to assert dominance and claim resources like food or a favorite spot. The one who looks away first loses the turf war. It's literally a staring contest. And a major pro tip for you humans, never ever try to outstare an angry, aggressive cat. You are not going to win that battle. You will just escalate the situation and totally freak them out.
Sometimes, though, a stare isn't about communication or claiming turf at all. And this is when a blank gaze becomes high-key sus, and you really need to pay attention. Let's look at Section 4, when to low-key worry, the medical side of the stare. The late, great veterinary neurologist Dr. Alexander de la Junta famously noted that if an aging cat just stares blankly at a wall, acting like it is completely in a world of its own, that is a massive red flag. He considered this a problem in the prosencephalon. Now that's just a fancy medical term for the forebrain, which is responsible for processing sensory information. Basically, their brain just isn't computing the physical room around them anymore.
So you definitely need to get your vet involved if the staring is paired with any of these major medical red flags. For instance, older cats can develop feline cognitive dysfunction, which is basically cat dementia, where they just get confused and stare at walls for no reason. They can also suffer from absence seizures. These are brief electrical misfires in the brain that make it look like they are just spacing out and twitching slightly. And of course, if you notice their lenses look cloudy, they might be staring off into space simply because they are losing their vision and they're just trying really hard to focus.
But wait, don't panic immediately. Sometimes a cat looks like it's doing a weird, glassy zombie stare just because it is super relaxed and its nictitating membrane is showing. That's their sideways moving third eyelid. It looks kind of creepy, I know. But if they are just sleepy and happy, seeing a little bit of that pink inner eyelid is perfectly normal. However, if it's up all the time, even when they're wide awake and they look sick, definitely call the vet.
Okay, to wrap this all up, let's pull back and look at the big picture of what's actually happening inside your cat's brain. Section 5. Mastering the Cat Matrix. Becoming fluent in feline.
You have to realize that your cat is an absolute biological marvel. They are literally running two completely different operating systems at the exact same time. On one hand, they have this ancient, hardwired predator instinct built for the wild, where a stare means a hunt or a deadly threat. But on the other hand, they have this brand new, modern social software that they've developed over the last 10,000 years living with us. And they can seamlessly flip from wild hunter into being your securely attached best friend who slow blinks to say, "I love you." It's incredible.
So, here is your homework. Try the slow blink with your cat today and see if they flex back with a little squint of their own. It is an absolutely amazing way to bond with them. But honestly, looking at how perfectly they get us to feed them, pet them, and obsess over their every single look, it definitely leaves you wondering, are we decoding their behavior, or have they just perfectly trained us to serve them? Food for thought. Thanks so much for joining me on this explainer, and I will catch you all next time.